Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. Liverpool have just beaten Stuttgart 3-0 in their first pre-season friendly of the 2020-2021 season out in Austria, and filmed at the worst camera angle ever, I must say. But we got through it, we watched the game, and it was, I suppose it was interesting watching a few ways. I mean, it's mad that this game's even taking place, isn't it? The Champions League final from last season is tomorrow night, and Liverpool are playing their first pre-season game of the season ahead, but that's obviously just the situation we find ourselves in. These friendlies, so we've got, obviously we had Stuttgart this evening, and we've got Salzburg on Tuesday. Then it's the Arsenal Community Shield, and away we go again. These friendlies, I'm not sure, are completely designed to get Jurgen Klopp, a lot of education on his players. I think they are simply about probably getting minutes into the legs. Obviously, we want to go out and win that Community Shield this time next week, and it's all about making sure that we have the best opportunities to do that. I imagine they've played some internal friendlies in the training camp against each other, so they can't be a million miles away from complete fitness. Yeah, they've had a couple of weeks off, but the season didn't end that long ago, so they can't be that unfit. So I think these two games and the Arsenal game, if you want to count that as a friendly, are pretty much all the games you're going to need in preparation for the new season, because of course the games next season are going to come thick and fast. They're going to have to start trying to catch up, and obviously by the time we get to next May, we're going to finish the season at the same time. So we've got to be playing those games in order to catch up, having started later. So I think these games, as I say, are just about fitness, and obviously he'll be learning things about the players. He learns things about his players in every game, Klopp. And there were a few interesting performances. Obviously, he switches the team completely at half-time. First half, I thought Naby Keita obviously gets the second goal. I thought Keita was very good. And it's interesting that Keita, now having sustained, a lot of fitness, and he's keeping fully fit, which I think is a good thing, his goal contributions are coming. And we thought that when he first arrived 2 years ago. But and it's quite nice to see that that's paying off for him a little bit. I think he's clearly a very, very talented player, and I think this is quite crucial actually, that in this pre-season, no matter how small it is, he's managed to stay fit, unlike Oxlade-Chamberlain. I think this is a bit of a blow for Chamberlain to have had the real break, because I think he was building up a little bit of momentum as well. But for Keita, I think it's crucial that he stayed fit, and I'm happy that he has. Curtis Jones as well in the first half, I thought was really good. Obviously, he has a hand in the first goal. I think he's excellent. I think he's looking really sharp. I think he's a really exciting player, and I think when you look at the fact that obviously we've moved Adam Lallana on, I think that's totally okay, because we've got Curtis Jones, and I think he's going to fit into the squad seamlessly this season. People talk about, I know they're different players, but people talk about Thiago coming in, maybe Wijnaldum moving on. We do have quite a packed midfield, because the Lallana replacement is essentially Curtis Jones. So we've got the same amount of midfielders at the moment as we did last season. So, if we added another one and didn't let another one go, i.e. Thiago, how does that look for players' opportunities, for time on the pitch? So I think it will be really interesting, but I think Curtis Jones is doing everything he can at the moment to convince Jurgen Klopp that he deserves a place in the side going forward. Then moving on to the second half, I think obviously we had the new fullback Tsimikas. He looked good. He has that moment with James Milner 9 minutes into his Liverpool debut where he doesn't give James Milner the ball after he's made an overlap, and he gets sworn at, which I think is very funny. Testament to James Milner, who himself, I thought, he's just a machine, isn't he? He's absolutely brilliant. I think I think they said on the commentary he's into his 18th pre-season and playing football since he's 16, and he just keeps going and keeps going, and every single game matters to him, and you could see that in that moment with Tsimikas where he was wanting that ball. Every single moment matters. I love him to bits. I thought he was good again. Then you have obviously the young guy who came on, Billy Kumente. Kumente. I'm so sorry, I've not got him in front of me. But he was a presence at the back. I'd never heard of him until he came on. Maybe the young lads have. Maybe the lads who cover the young teams know, Jack and James. But I've never heard of him. And he was massive. I think he's only 17 years old, and he was heading away balls at corners, and he looks absolutely huge. So again, they discussed on commentary the fact with Dejan Lovren leaving, what does Jurgen Klopp do? does he look to sign or does he look at the kids? Obviously, he had Van den Berg starting that second half and brought him off. And obviously, he had who else played alongside him in that second half? In that second half, it was Van den Berg and it was Nat Phillips, obviously. Sorry, it took a minute. But yeah, Nat Phillips, and then he had Hoover at right back. And obviously, I think Hoover is well established as a good young talent. But the centre-back options, I think that is slightly, in terms of the young players, where we're a little bit weaker. Nat Phillips, I think, needs another loan. Van den Berg, I don't think anybody's quite convinced on just yet. And then, obviously, this new fellow who's come on tonight, we haven't seen enough of him to make a judgment. As I say, Simicast looked quite good going forward. Harvey Elliott, inventive, looked good, had a long range opportunity, flicks that ball in quite late on for Milner, who has the header that saved as well. And overall, yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? It's always like this after the first game of pre-season, but particularly this season, where it's just a bit of a crash course, isn't it, for getting players minutes, but it's like a mini pre-season and you're going to learn even less than you normally would during pre-season. So overall, obviously, we look now to Salzburg on Tuesday and going into the cup game against Arsenal next Saturday. I think the plan will probably be to give the full team an hour on Tuesday and then give that second string team half an hour. And then at the weekend, obviously, you'd be fit and ready to go pretty much for the new season, and hopefully we go out and smash Arsenal. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, everybody. Give it a like, give it a comment. Let me know what you thought of the game. Let me know who's going to win the Champions League tomorrow if you fancy that. And yeah, we'll be back for the content post Salzburg on Tuesday. Ta-ra.